Have you ever seen sports games where people in the crowd are painted from head to toe and dressed in these crazy outfits? They're yelling and screaming their heads off, booing and cheering and going wild. I remember a few years ago when the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl. People were literally hanging off of the streetlights. They set something on fire, and some people even got into fights over their team. Or how about a concert? If you were to show up at a Taylor Swift concert, I guarantee you'd find so many Swifties screaming with their arms stretched out, just trying to reach for her, tears running down their glitter-covered faces, ugly crying with booger bubbles and all. I've even heard some people faint and pass out because of all of the excitement. But have you ever stopped to think about how crazy all of this is? Well, I have two conclusions. One, they all look absolutely ridiculous. I'm so sorry, Swifties. And two, they are full-on worshiping, aren't they? Way more than what happens in church. Why? Why are people so quick to worship someone who has some catchy songs about breakups or a team that's good at getting a ball in a hoop or down a field? Well, here's why. Because as humans, we're all worshipers. Every single one of us worships. It's who we are. It's how we were made. If you grew up going to church, you might be thinking, well, I thought worship is only at church for religious people to do. Nope, everyone does it. People that follow Jesus, people that don't follow Jesus, old people, young people, people all over the world worship different things. Here's what it means to worship. Worship is a response to what matters most to us. We all worship. Maybe it doesn't look like snot bubbles coming out of your nose for a celebrity or painting our bodies for our sports team, but here's the reality. Everyone worships something, but not every something should be worshiped. So let's look at what it says in Romans chapter 1, verse 25. This is a letter written to the people at the church in Rome a long time ago. So let's read what it says. They traded the truth about God for a lie. So they worshiped and served the things God created instead of the Creator himself, who is worthy of eternal praise. So let's dig into this. First, it says they traded. That means they had worshiped God, but gave it away for something else to worship. The other really interesting thing about the word traded is that it means they couldn't have both. They had to give up one for another. So here's the thing. We either worship God or we're worshiping something else. We can't worship both at the same time because worship is an outpouring of the thing we value most in our lives. We can't have two things tied for first place. One will take the lead, even if it's a little, and that's the thing that will get our worship. Let's look at what the next part of this verse says. So they worshiped and served the things God created instead of the Creator himself. When it says they worshiped and served, it means they responded with their hearts and put their time, energy, and actions into supporting those things. See, the things that we worship, we also serve. We live out what matters most to us, and the decisions we make in our lives are based off of those things. See, when I was in middle school, there were definitely seasons for me that I worshiped the opinions of people over God. Fitting in and what people thought of me was so important that I thought that's where I got my worth and my value from. I wanted other people to like me so much. I held their thoughts and opinions so high that it influenced the choices I made, people I hung out with, what I wore, the music I liked, activities I was a part of, things that I would say, if I would obey my parents or not, and the list goes on. And see, it would make me feel so good for the older popular kids to compliment me or to invite me to hang out with them. And when somebody would say something nice to me, I felt so accepted. It would fill me up and I would have fun with my friends or for them to be rooting for me. And it just made me feel like I belonged. And so I would do things that got me positive attention, and I put time, energy, and resources into getting people to like me. And when people would think less of me, not like my outfit, think something I said was stupid, or disagree with my opinion, I felt a pit in my stomach, anxious, embarrassed, and so out of place. See, this has actually been an area for me a lot of my life that I have to check myself on because it can be so easy for me to trade worshiping Jesus and finding my value in him alone for worshiping the people in my life that I look up to. Now, I have to say, most of the things we idolize or worship aren't bad things. Some of them are actually really good things that God created to be a part of our lives, and there's nothing wrong with them. until we make them more important than God. When we trade God for the things God created, we've worshiped the wrong thing. So let me ask you, what are you worshiping in your life? What are you spending the most time thinking about, doing, or giving the majority of your attention to? Because it's often the thing that you are worshiping. Is it the sports team you love, celebrities, technology, or maybe even yourself? Are you worshiping popularity or fitting in? Do you worship having the coolest new things? Do you worship trying to get good grades? What is it for you that has first place in your heart, that you put more thought, more time, more energy, and you get more enjoyment out of than anything else? As soon as we begin to put other things above God, that's when we're worshiping the wrong thing. Because then we become just like those crying, screaming, painted up fanatics that we see at concerts and sporting events, worshiping the things that aren't even close to deserving our worship. So today, I want you to identify the thing that you are worshiping in your life. And I want to challenge you to trade back whatever that is and put God back where He belongs in your life as number one. Because the only one who deserves to be worshiped is the Creator Himself, not what He created.